Hello, and welcome to today's episode of AMC's Corner. What I have to show you here is this 1968 AMC AMX. I call it the Javelin, but this is the AMX. They didn't necessarily call this the Javelin. This is one of the original 390 cars. It's got the 390 badging on it. The 390 is probably one of the stoutest engines ever to be used in drag racing, or one of the stoutest production engines to ever be used in drag racing. To this day, some of the NHRA cars run this motor. I'm not sure the class that you would call it. I'm not really into the drag racing anymore, and everything's different from when I used to be. That's what this car is. This is pretty much built to be, as it is, a quarter-mile car. It's literally meant to go a quarter mile as fast as it can, and that's about it. When we had this car last year, it was built by a racing guy. We weren't able to get a hold of him. I don't know why. Maybe someone fell ill. Who knows? So we had no idea what this car had for a cam, for a compression ratio, for anything. So we just kind of put it together as best we can. Probably the biggest issue we didn't do last year is we didn't put an ignition module with a rev limiter in it. So the guy who owns the car picked it up from us, running great, running real powerful, and he was gone for maybe a minute and a half. I think he missed the third, fourth shift, or maybe the first, second shift. Probably the first, second shift. He ended up pulling a couple rocket studs right out of one of the heads, which we repaired and got it running again. But being a drag car, it makes a lot of power, it makes a lot of heat, and it really can't get rid of the heat, which is probably its biggest issue. It's just you can't get the heat, and it overheats. And so it's here this year. I'm gonna be pulling the motor out of it. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's take a look at the interior of this. I think this is a really well laid out interior from a 68 car. I really like the dash things. This is something we see a lot nowadays. The vents that work like that. Yep. What's old is new again. And then you know it's a real AMX. It's numbered. What's that number? Focus. 4,513. I'm not sure what the total build, but if someone wants to make the comment. Neat wood panels. Seats are pretty good, about what you'd expect. Now this is a two-seat car. This was kind of considered the poor man's Corvette. That was kind of the intention of this particular car, was to go after the Corvette. And it actually has a little tack, big speedo, temp and fuel. Well, that temp gauge is always way up somewhere, bumping off the fuel gauge. How about we something a little different? This thing sounds really nice. We'll give it a quick start. We'll give it a couple of revs, and then we'll go look at the motor. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Now there's the 390. The Edelbrock intake on it. I don't remember what size carb. It was just kind of something we threw on. It had a really big Holly on there. And I think this might be like a 650 or a 750 CFM Edelbrock. We chose this carburetor in part because it's really available to us, and they're pretty easy to tune. Yeah. Now, like I was saying, this motor makes a lot of horsepower. I'm going to guess somewhere in the high 400 horsepower, maybe mid 400. It hasn't been on a track since I've known the car. It hasn't been on the strip, I should say. So I can't tell you what it's pulled, or what it can pull in this trim. I'm going to say 13s all day with this setup, at least 13s. Now, this thing is powerful. It's a lot of motor for this car, but the gentleman that owns this car doesn't really want to drag it. He wants to cruise to the beach. You know, he wants to go get slices of beach pizza. He wants to cruise around and be seen. He wants to be able to stop at a stoplight and not overheat and not make a ton of noise. So I'm going to be pulling this motor out, and we're actually going to detune it. We're probably going to put some aluminum heads on. One of the issues we had last year with this motor, we put the different intake on it, and we found that the heads have been shaved and the block has been decked to raise the compression ratio. Now that goes with not having no idea what was done with this, so we're going to kind of take it apart, see what we have, and we're going to try to lower the compression so we can run pump gas and not ping it to death. So this is a project to keep your eyes on. We'll probably do something like I did with the Jaguar, where I'll pull it apart, have the motor apart, show you what it looks like, and maybe we'll get this thing. Maybe I can convince the owner to put this on a drag strip. We'll do an AMC's corner from a drag strip and see what it pulls. We kind of fast-tracked this AMX to get this engine shipped off to be balanced and blueprinted, gone over. We're going to detune it, smaller cam, maybe lower the compression ratio a little depending on what's in there. It's got some pretty serious hardware on it. You know, like I was saying, I think this thing's pushing about 400 horsepower when it's firing on all 8. But it has a bit of a knock. It's had a bit of a knock since the person who purchased it got it. So we're going to send it out to someone who has the right equipment to really give it a good overhaul. And there's everything in there. It's got the 4-speed. I just left that in. I figured I'd deal with that. I'll probably have to pull that out to get the motor in. But then we can at least get this motor to the builders. Yep. Sits a little higher in the front with no motor in it. That 390 is one heavy engine, I gotta say. The engine back from the Lawrence Crank, the builders. I had to paint it. I had to mask it and take some of it apart to paint it, because that's actually AMC blue, as you can see here. AMC blue. Yeah, there it is, focused. It's a real light blue, kind of almost an aquamarine green color. Looks pretty though. There's the big scatter shield bell housing. Got that all painted up, looking good. Here's the big engine bay. This is where that's going to go. I'm probably gonna take the tranny out, put the motor in, then put the tranny on. I think it'd just be a lot easier than scratching up all the finish on the engine. I don't know exactly how much work I'm going to get done on this today, because like I said, the tech that's normally in this bay is out, and we're going to have a lot of customers coming in. Normally we're open Saturdays, but we're going to be closed tomorrow, so there's probably going to be a lot of customer pay stuff coming in. So I'm hoping if I get that engine in that hole, I'll be happy. If it's just in there and resting in, then I can come in. Maybe I'll do a video on Sunday and we'll button it up. Maybe I'll spend a whole Sunday just like I did with the last Sonnet Sunday, where I got the Sonnet on the road. But We got a lot of parts. We've also got some suspension work. We got to put some new shackles in it, some brake cables, and some brake work needs to be done. Those toolboxes have like the distributor and the carburetor and all of that in them. And then back here, there's the cooling system of it. I love, take a look at these old spares. Look at that old spare tire. Talk about low profile. I remember seeing these back in the day, thinking that they looked more like a forklift tire. Maybe I'll get a video of that when we get this running and this cleaned out. I'll show that to you again. Yeah. You've all seen the inside on my other video of this car when it was running. But we'll do a good video. We'll do a good road test video on it. Probably going to hold off on putting that clutch on until the engine's in the car. Just make it a little easier, a little lighter. It's Sunday, 11 o'clock. I've been here since 7 and made some good progress on the AMX. It's got the sonnets watching. Gotta have that in. Drove that a little bit. Went to an old-timey, an old-style hamburger place with it last night. It was a big hit there. But the AMX, here it is. Let's see, we'll get under it. Let me get my flashlight. If you notice, it's not the blue $200 flashlight. It's now a red $200 flashlight because my blue one got legs and walked off. So yeah, $400 in flashlights this year. Yeehaw. Well, let's see if we can get this. Got the tranny, the bell housing, got all that in, got that scatter shield in, head is all in, that's all done. This is some heavy stuff to do by yourself. You know, getting that scatter shield up, the plate behind it, there's like a sandwich plate that was a bear to get to not fall down while I was putting that heavy ass piece of steel up in there. And then the 4-speed transmission's a big hunk of cast iron. That wasn't easy to get past this H-pipe here. But a little bit of ingenuity and only 2 or 3 good crashes to the head, and I got that in. Those headers are a pain to get up in there. You got to kind of take the bell crank for the clutch apart and have it just so to get that one in, and then you got to kind of juggle the starter and the header to get that one in. But I was able to not waste too much time getting it done. Let's bring it down. I remember back in the old days with my father doing this out in the yard. He would have killed for a lift. Although he had lifts at work. My father was a tech, was a mechanic for as long as I was old. And I was able to make some decent progress up in here. There's that color kind of grows on me. At first I thought it was kind of an odd color. I thought it was maybe a little too light. I always thought the AMX blue was a little more like that, but I think it's got maybe a little bit too much green in it for me. But I think it looks all right now that it's in there. Got the headers all bolted up. I got the carb just resting there. That's not quite ready. I got a problem with one of the I think the power brake booster port. The little fitting didn't survive the builders. It's got some threads missing, so I got to chase that. Another thing I like about this car, I know I mentioned it before, is it's got all true AN fittings. You know, none of that look-alike stuff. That's the real deal. So probably I don't know how busy we're going to be tomorrow with customer pay, in out work. I think maybe I got another 4 hours and this will be going down the road. I wanted to have the radiator in this morning, the shroud and the fan and all that taken care of, but a little issue with the hardware with that water pump pulley. Sometimes it's the little things that hold you up. You know, I never would have thought just some bolts, but the hardware store around here is closed on Sunday, and I won't put Home Depot hardware in a muscle car, you know, for obvious. Here's that 68 AMC AMX. I've got it all done. Well, maybe not all done. There's still a few details, but here it is, running. Runs a lot better than it did before. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Now I know, I apologize, the microphone I'm using, really I know it doesn't do these justice. Yeah, nice and lopey. If you remember before, this thing didn't idle for crap. It had a huge cam, a lot of duration, a lot of overlap. Let me shut it down, have a little word. But there it is. There was a couple surprises. The oil pump drive. I was going to make a tool that matched the distributor where it drives the oil pump, but the other technician and the boss said to use this simple tool that they have. It's basically just a broken screwdriver that we chuck into a drill. I don't like using those, and the reason is, and what happened on this motor, it will bend the oil pump drive gear so that it no longer slots into the distributor. So I had to chase that and fix that and take care of that. That added a lot more time than I'd like to admit, taking the oil pump apart to get that down and get that distributor in. But if that was the only curveball this is going to throw at me, which it seems it was, I'll take it. Issues right now, the clutch needs to be readjusted. You know, I probably got another 3 hours of just neatening it up. I don't really care for how these wires look. We had this young high school intern. I had him do what he could. He did all right on most of it, but I got some neatening up to do. Adjust the clutch. A couple other small things I had to add. This improvised coolant bottle. I don't know what happened to the coolant bottle in it, but I didn't want to spew coolant all over my ground. But guys, there it is. I know I said I wanted to get a road test video, so maybe the next video will be a road test. This isn't quite ready to just head on down the street. I just took it around the short block out there on my road, on a road test on it, and it doesn't seem to have any front brakes. It just locking the back up, which was actually a complaint that we had when we first got it with the motor, so we knew we'd have to deal with that. We've got some parking brake cables, a little bit of adjustment, but now that I've driven it, it feels like those front brakes aren't doing a darn thing, and it's all in the back. It's kind of, I got the thing going pretty good, and it was kind of hard to get it to come back down from maybe 40 miles an hour without making a lot of noise out of the back. Kind of funny. But anyway, guys, now we got this AMX back. We got a call this morning that the charge light came on. It looks like the older alternator that was in there wasn't working, so I just got through putting this alternator on, and I figured I would come out here and take a quick video and take you guys on a quick road test in this thing. So, here we go. Now, I wanted to get a road test in this last Friday, but unfortunately I had to go to the registry on my lunch break, and I was there for about 3 hours trying to register the Sonnet, which turned out to be a futile endeavor. The sales tax they want on that Sonnet is pretty astronomical. But I was there for 3 hours, and this got delivered to the customer, and I wasn't able to take you guys for a drive. So, like I said, it came back for the alternator, and here we go. Like it. Starts right up. Now, I'm going to apologize if it's a little shaky, because it's a 4-speed and holding the camera here. So if I got to drop you guys, I'll pick you right back up. Oh, some traffic coming. That was, I started off in 3rd. The thing with these big 4-speeds, you really don't have to roll the whole transmission. You can just skip gears. You can start off in 2nd. We got a 4-shift here. Bear with me. Yeah. Woo! What a blast. You know, there's something about these old cars that you just totally lose with newer performance cars. There's the visceralness of it. I can't think of a better term, but just a visceral automotive experience. The smells, the vibrations, the sounds. The way that they pull one way or the other on the throttle and off the throttle. Just really, words fail to describe what it's like to drive something like this. I just catch up to that Saab in front of me way too quick. Yeah. Now it wasn't charging the alternator light. The charge light was on. That's usually right there. That's off now. She's charging about 13.5 volts. I was only charging about 12.25 volts. It's got a big electric fuel pump in it, which really sucks down the juice, but you need that to put up with the supply. These things have a demand for a lot of fuel. Oh, that's a hard corner. No power steering. Cars everywhere. And I didn't even have to downshift. This thing these make so much torque, and this thing is geared so low. I'm not going to make a lot of noise out here. We got kids and stuff. It's that time of day, so I'm going to keep it quiet through here. But yeah. Holy. So here we're going to get back on the busy roads. I think I'm going to have to let you guys go. So subscribe, tune in, and until next time, keep it out of the cabbage.